We live in a world that worships perfection. Scroll through any social media feed and you'll see it everywhere. Perfect bodies, perfect homes, perfect relationships, perfect morning routines with perfectly arranged coffee cups next to perfectly opened books. And somewhere along the way, we started measuring our own lives against these images. We started asking, why doesn't my life look like that? Why am I not further along? Why do I still struggle with the same things? The answer the modern world gives us is simple: work harder, optimize more, fix yourself, become better. But Japan, a culture that has existed for thousands of years, has a completely different answer. It's called Wabi-Sabi, and once you understand it, you will never see the world the same way again. Wabi-Sabi is one of the most important concepts in Japanese aesthetics and philosophy. But it's also one of the hardest to translate into English because the English language doesn't really have a word for it. The closest we can get is this: Wabi-Sabi is the art of finding beauty in imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. Let's break that down. The word wabi originally referred to the loneliness and simplicity of living in nature, away from society. Over time, it evolved to mean something closer to rustic simplicity, a kind of humble, quiet beauty that comes from things that are plain, irregular, or understated. Sabi originally meant desolation or withering, but it too evolved into something richer: the beauty that comes with age, wear, and the passage of time. The patina on an old copper roof, the moss growing on a stone lantern, the worn edges of a wooden table that has fed a family for 50 years. Together, Wabi-Sabi describes a world where imperfection is not a problem to fix. It's a quality to appreciate. To understand where Wabi-Sabi comes from, we need to go back to 16th century Japan and a man named Sen no Rikyu. Sen no Rikyu was the greatest tea master in Japanese history. He served under the most powerful men in Japan, including the warlord Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and he completely transformed the Japanese tea ceremony. Before Rikyu, the tea ceremony was dominated by Chinese influence. The most prized objects were perfect, symmetrical Chinese ceramics, expensive, polished, and flawless. Rikyu rejected all of this. He began using simple, rough, handmade Japanese bowls, crooked, asymmetrical, sometimes with visible finger marks from the potter who made them. The tea rooms he designed were small, low, and intentionally modest. You had to bow to enter. Even the most powerful samurai had to humble themselves at the door. Rikyu believed that true beauty could not be found in perfection. It could only be found in simplicity, in quietness, in the slight imperfections that remind us we are human. He called this spirit wabi, and through the tea ceremony, this philosophy spread throughout Japanese culture, influencing everything from architecture to poetry to garden design. One of the most powerful expressions of wabi-sabi is a practice called Kintsugi. Kintsugi means golden joinery. When a piece of pottery breaks in Japan, instead of throwing it away or hiding the damage with invisible glue, the Japanese repair it with gold. The crack is not concealed. It is highlighted. It becomes the most beautiful part of the object. The philosophy behind Kintsugi is profound. An object's history, including its damage, its breaks, its repairs, is part of its beauty, not a reason to discard it. And this philosophy applies directly to human beings. Think about the people you admire most in your life, the ones you find truly interesting, truly compelling. Chances are they're not the people who have had everything go perfectly. They're the people who have been through something: loss, failure, heartbreak, struggle, and came out the other side with depth, wisdom, and empathy. Their cracks are filled with gold. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. Think about the hardest thing you've ever been through. Maybe it was the end of a relationship. Maybe it was losing a job you cared about. Maybe it was a failure so public it felt like it defined you. Maybe it was a quiet, private struggle that no one else could see. Whatever it was, did it break you or did it shape you? Chances are it did both. And the shaping, painful as it was, made you more you than you were before. More specific, more real, more capable of understanding what other people are going through. That's Kintsugi. That's your gold. Wabi-Sabi also teaches us something crucial about nature and time. Every spring in Japan, millions of people gather under cherry blossom trees in a practice called hanami, flower viewing. They bring food, they sit with friends and family, they look up at the blossoms. But here's what's interesting. Part of what makes the cherry blossom so beautiful. to Japanese people is that it falls. The blossoms last only about 2 weeks. They are fragile, fleeting, and temporary. This is not a tragedy in Japanese culture. It's the entire point. The Japanese have a concept called mono no aware, often translated as the pathos of things, or the bittersweet awareness of impermanence. It's the gentle, melancholy appreciation for things precisely because they don't last. A sunset is beautiful because it ends. A childhood is precious because it passes. A life is meaningful because it is finite. Wabi-Sabi embraces this impermanence completely. Nothing lasts. Nothing is finished. Nothing is perfect. And in that acknowledgement, there is tremendous peace. Now, how do we actually apply Wabi-Sabi to modern life? The first step is to change how you see your environment. Look around your home. Instead of seeing the things that need to be fixed or replaced, try to see the things that have a story. The worn corner of a favorite chair. The faded cover of a book you've read many times. The small imperfections in a handmade mug. These aren't flaws. They're evidence of a life being lived. The second step is to change how you see yourself. Most of us carry a long list of things we want to fix about ourselves. We're too anxious, too lazy, too scattered, too sensitive. We haven't achieved enough. Haven't become the person we thought we'd be by now. Wabi-Sabi invites you to look at those parts of yourself differently. What if your anxiety is actually a sign of how deeply you care? What if your sensitivity is what makes you perceptive and empathetic? What if the path you've taken, even the wrong turns, has given you exactly the understanding you need for where you're going next? You are not a finished product. You are a work in progress. And a work in progress is not a failure, it's a living thing. The third step is to practice what the Japanese call negative space. In Japanese art and design, the empty spaces are as important as the filled ones. The silence between notes and music, the blank space in a painting, the pause in a conversation. Modern life is terrified of empty space. We fill every moment with stimulation, productivity, noise. But Wabi-Sabi asks us to make room for stillness, for incompleteness, for the unfinished. Not every moment needs to be productive. Not every wall needs to be filled. Not every silence needs to be broken. In the empty spaces, something important can grow. The fourth step is to embrace the process over the outcome. Japanese culture has always honored the craftsman more than the product. The shokunin, the Japanese artisan, doesn't chase results. They show up every day, do their work with full attention, and trust that mastery will come through the process itself. This is the opposite of how most of us approach our goals. We fixate on the outcome, the promotion, the finished body, the perfect relationship, and we suffer every day we don't have it. Wabi-Sabi says fall in love with the process, the imperfect, messy, unglamorous, daily work. That is where life actually happens. The fifth step, and perhaps the most important, is to let yourself be seen. Wabi-Sabi only works if you stop performing perfection for other people. The cracked bowl is only beautiful because the crack is visible. The Kintsugi repair only becomes golden because the break was acknowledged. So many of us spend enormous energy hiding the parts of ourselves we think are broken. We perform competence when we feel lost. We perform happiness when we're struggling. We perform certainty when we have no idea what we're doing. Wabi-Sabi asks you to put that performance down, not to overshare or seek attention, but to simply stop hiding the honest, imperfect texture of being human. Because when you do, something remarkable happens. Other people relax. They feel less alone in their own imperfection. And suddenly, what felt like a weakness becomes a form of generosity. Wabi-Sabi is not a philosophy of giving up or settling for less. It's a philosophy of radical acceptance, the kind that actually frees you to grow. When you stop spending all your energy fighting against your imperfections, you have more energy to gently improve them. When you stop hiding your struggles, you create space for real connection. When you stop waiting until everything is perfect to start living, you actually start living. The Japanese have understood for centuries what modern psychology is only now, beginning to confirm that self-compassion, not self-criticism, is the foundation of genuine growth. Wabi-Sabi is that self-compassion, given form. So today, I want to leave you with one question. What in your life have you been treating as a flaw to fix when it might actually be a crack worth filling with gold? Your struggles, your scars, your imperfect, unfinished, beautiful life. That's Wabi-Sabi.